God works on the man before he works through the man. God cannot put you in a place, in a position, in an environment where he has not prepared you for that space. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Heal before you lead, heal before you preach, heal before you teach. If you want to lead, if you want to influence, heal. Good day, brothers. I hope you're doing well, and welcome, brothers, to today's episode. Now, as always, how I'd like to start this conversation is that I might not know who you are. I might not know where you are. I might not know what it is that you're going through or how things are going through you. But if there's one thing that I know, if there's one thing that I'm confident for, is that I know and I believe that you're made for greatness. But hold on, you need to believe in yourself in order for you to understand these greatness. I know life puts us through challenges, through hurdles, through situations, through circumstances that we sometimes question whether are we worthy for this position? Are we worthy for this environment? Are we worthy for the rooms that we step in? The fact that you're alive and we can still see this, hear this, is a reminder that you're worthy for every room you step into. But I need to remind you on a very important subject that we sometimes tend to ignore as men, and we feel like, you know what, it's all right, I'm okay, I'll get it done right, or I'll just win it. Heal before you lead. Heal before you lead. Heal before you preach. Heal before you teach. I need you to get that into your mind, into your thoughts, and I need you to ponder and think about that for a second, or even for a minute. Heal before you lead. Heal before you preach. Heal before you teach. Now, many of us as men want influence. There's nothing wrong with it. We want to be the one that shows the way, goes the way, and even walks the way or walks the talk. But how many of us are ready to heal what we haven't addressed before we did? Few of us want healing. Few of us want healing. And why I say this is that an unhealed man becomes someone else's burden. When you don't heal what hurts you, what trauma you went through, what causes you pain, wherever you go, you bleed what you carry because you're walking with wounds that haven't healed. So no matter how good, perfect, excellent, or how well you execute something, because you haven't healed the scars, you bleed in the wounds and in front of the people that you're supposed to help. You may not realize it, but you get to a point where you see that, you know what, I'm just trying to be a good person. But because I haven't healed, I'm hurting the people, the environment, the space, or the room that I found. Now today, I'd like to share with you a story about a great man from the Bible. Now this man, before he even led a nation to the promised land, he went into hiding. He went into captivity, more like, let me first go and work on myself. I'm talking about Moses. Moses spent years in the wilderness before he came to leading a nation. Moses spent years in the wilderness. You can imagine. I can imagine Moses still like, you know what? If I have to lead God's children to the promised land, I need to work on my healing. I need to work on my doubt. I need to work on my leadership skills. I need to work on, that is, my trauma. I need to work on my doubts, on what actually makes me feel like I can't do it, so that when I step out, I do the job. Not because I'm unable, but because I've addressed what has hurt me, what has pained me, what creates fear in me, and what makes me feel like I'm not capable when I'm actually capable. And a beautiful teaching around Moses is that Moses was with God through the process. And God reminds us that no, God works on the man before he works through the man. God works on the man before he works through the man. God cannot put you in a place, in a position, in an environment where he has not prepared you for that space. God works through the man
once he has worked in him or worked on it. If you haven't worked, if God hasn't worked, it's all like, how do you plan to lift a house when you haven't been prepared mentally, physically, or emotionally? So God says that, you know what, my child, before I put you to your prayer point, let me strengthen you, let me fix you, so that once you reach your prayer point, you are ready, prepared, and healed and blessed. So remember that God works through men only after he has worked on the men. So you need to take care of your heart. That heart is fragile. We all have fears. And there's nothing to express them. There's nothing wrong with being human, to connect, to be vulnerable, to face reality. I need you to deal with your pain. I need you to deal with the pain. There's certain things that might have afflicted you growing up, or there's certain things that you keep encountering and you keep asking yourself, but I keep doing great, but you keep on hurting. That pain, I need you to work on it. I need you to work on the pain that you might have not addressed. It might have been a loved one that might have passed. I know as men, we always feel like, you know what, because I'm a man, I am the man, I'm okay, I'll deal with it. But sometimes the things that we see we're dealing with haven't found here. Sometimes the things that we're saying we're dealing with haven't found here. So I also need you to face that is your trauma. Face it. Just like Michael Jackson, a great pop, greatest pop artist of time. One of his songs, in his lyrics, he says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Now, already with those few words, it reminds you and I that before we do anything or before we take any step to the mirror, look at that man in the mirror. Ask him, what are we? Who are we? Where do we come from? And how do we move from here? Because if you don't address self, you'll never be able to address external, because you've hidden from your own truth, from your own wounds. You haven't healed them. So how do you expect to heal wounds from the outside? And I just don't want to speak about this just like that, because in as much as we have to face ourselves in the mirror and address the truth, we need to have hard conversations. The difficult conversations. The ones that make us think. The ones that even bring anxiety, or even for a second you feel like, I'm not ready for this conversation. Those are the conversations we give him. Because at times we always want to pamper ourselves and feel like, it's fine, I'm okay. But there's certain truths that lie in difficult conversations. They don't make us weak, but they strengthen us internally. Tough times make tough men, but easy times don't make tough men when tough situations come. And a beautiful teaching is that tough times don't last. Only tough people. Are you able to have those tough conversations? Because if you are not, once those conversations comes, you'll be defeated. You'll be weak. So have those tough conversations. And I don't just speak about these conversations or healing, as important as it is, without believing a very important teaching from the Bible. And by that, I'd like to take from the book on Psalms 147, verse 3. Now, within that, the scripture there says, and I quote, He heals the brokenhearted. Brethren, whatever you're going through, I need you to know this now and forever. The Lord, our God, is always by our sides. He's always by your side. Whatever you're going through, whatever has inflicted pain inside your heart, both knowing, both what you show and what you don't show, God hears this. God sees this. All we have to do is reconnect, call unto Him, and He will heal. He will teach. He will deliver. And I want you to remember this over and over. We may have wounds, but as long as they are healed, is a sign of
a man that is right. Healed wounds but ugly scars, but the scars are a representation of a process that you went through and a process that you've acknowledged. But if you don't heal it, you made based. Strong men don't
ignore their wounds. Strong men don't say that, it's fine, let's go on. Strong men heal them. If you want to lead, if you want to influence,
heal. Heal first before you lead. Heal first before you teach.
Heal first before you preach.
Heal first and watch what you can become.